Alright, hi everyone, welcome back. So in the previous video, we went through a few examples on how we can analyze the sources in order to find out what their purpose is. Okay, we have already established that for such questions, we are actually looking out for a reason why the author created this. We are looking out for what the intentions of the author are. Okay, what they are trying to tell the audience and what they are trying to get the audience to do. Okay, so in this video, we are going to look at it in a more structured manner. We are going to find out what the components of answering a purpose question is. Okay, so this is something that you already have known. It's the acronym CMAO, CMAO. Okay, so what does C stand for? Okay, C, we are referring to the context that the source is being published in. Okay, so the context, you might also know of it as the background that the source was being published in. Okay, we are looking at, was there anything happening, okay, that made it necessary for the source to be produced. Okay, so in order for you to be able to find out what the context of the source is, okay, some details that you need to look at and that you need to know. Okay, you need to examine the date of the source. Okay, and you need to also check with what you already know. Okay, so we call this contextual knowledge. Okay, and this term basically means things you already know. Okay, which is why, right, sometimes people say that, SBQ, the sources all there, don't need to revise what, right? Revise for what? We don't need to know specific details. Okay, but, okay, the whole idea of why context is so important for history is that we know you have studied it. Okay, we expect you to know what was happening at the certain dates that these sources are being produced. Okay, so for history in particular, even compared to SS, okay, we place a lot of emphasis on the context, the background information, okay, things that you will know. Okay, so the next thing that we are looking at is M, message of the source. Okay, this is basically the things that the author is trying to convince the audience. Okay, what the author is trying to convince the audience. Okay. The next one, we are looking at A. So there are 3 A's that we are looking at. Okay, so the first A is you will need to be able to identify who the author of the source is. You will need to be able to identify who the audience of the source might be. Okay, and then you will need to use an action word. Okay, so what are some examples of these action words? We generally use the word convince, trying to convince the audience about something, trying to persuade the audience about something, trying to brainwash the audience, trying to justify to the audience, etc. Okay, so in your resource package, okay, you will actually be able to find a list of words that you will be able to use. Okay, for everyone, you can refer to page 9 of your resource package. Okay. Okay, for more examples and the specific format as well. Okay, and the last component that you must be able to identify is the outcome of the source. Okay, so this is actually a specific action that the author wants the audience to do. Okay. Okay, that the author wants the audience to do. Okay, after your audience actually believes the author. Okay. Okay, the most important thing you need to remember that this is a specific action. Okay, so essentially, right, try not to be confused between message and outcome. Your message will lead to the outcome. Okay, only after your audience believes the message, then they will do something because their minds are being changed. Now, we are going to go through an example of how you can use this CMAO inside your answer itself. Okay, so we are going to look at how to structure your answer. Okay, and this can be found on page 8 of your resource package. Okay, so where does all your CMAO go to? Okay, so seeing that, you start with your context first. So what is happening that made this source necessary to produce? This source was created by the author 2, this is where your action word comes in. To convince who? Okay, your audience. That, and this is where you put the message of the source in. Okay, this is so that the audience will, and this is the outcome. Okay, what's the specific action that your audience will do? Okay, and then this next part over here is actually to prove how your message is valid. Okay, so you will need to give me evidence and explanation. Okay, so this whole part is to prove that the message you have identified is valid. Okay, so we're going to try writing out the answer now. Okay, using the example of this poster. Okay, this cyberbullying poster. Okay, created by the Children's Society of Singapore. Okay, so what might be the context of this source? Okay, is it that like for no good reason suddenly they come up with a source or with a poster about cyberbullying? Okay, wouldn't be, right? There must have been a trend that has been happening in Singapore which made it necessary for such things to be created. Okay, so one of these trends could be that there has been an increase in cases of cyberbullying. So that could be the context. Okay, seeing that there has been an increase in cyberbullying cases. Okay, which might have actually led people to commit to do certain things. Okay, so this poster was created by the Children's Society. This is our author. Okay, in order to, so they would be trying to convince Singaporeans. Okay, and what are they trying to convince Singaporeans? Okay, that cyberbullying causes real harm to the victims as well. Okay, because remember over here they are saying that virtual words physical hurt. Okay, which is that even if you just say something to a person, it will cause them a lot of emotional harm as well. Sometimes it might cause them to harm themselves physically too. Okay, so why must they tell Singaporeans that cyberbullying causes real harm? Okay, this is so that Singaporeans will, okay, maybe be more careful of what they post. Okay, of what they say and post online. Okay, or it could be that they are really trying to get Singaporeans to stop cyberbullying. Okay, stop cyberbullying. Okay, so how do we know that this source is trying to convince Singaporeans that cyberbullying causes real harm? Okay, so this poster itself, it shows how people use virtual words. Okay, which cause physical harm. Okay, so what does that mean? This suggests that cyberbullying causes real harm. It causes real harm to the victims. Okay, so if you all see over here, I'm actually repeating the message. Okay, this is to remind yourself that you are explaining the message. Okay, you are trying to prove that your message is valid. Okay, this suggests that cyberbullying causes real harm to the victims because, okay, even though cyberbullying happens virtually, okay, it causes people to be emotionally scarred, etc. Okay, and this completes our entire purpose answer. Okay, so it's actually really quite simple. Just make sure you have your CMAO and then evidence and explanation of the message itself. Okay, so we'll end the videos here. What you are going to do next is that you will go through an example using a historical source instead. Okay, and hopefully by the end of this lesson, you will be able to be more confident in completing a purpose question.